We're back with a look at a comedy festival in Saudi Arabia that has quickly become a cultural flashpoint here in the U.S. Several A-list comedians are facing intense backlash for performing at this. We are talking major names: Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, Aziz Ansari, even Pete Davidson.
Human rights advocates and some fellow comics are among those speaking out. They're upset the comedians are accepting lucrative deals to perform in a country that is a frequent target for criticism over its human rights record.
NBC News reporter Angela Yang joins us now with more on this. Angela, good morning. So you recently did some reporting on this controversy. Walk us through the reaction that you've been seeing since this kicked off on Friday and why comedians agreed to perform in the first place.
Yeah, it's been a big subject of conversation in the industry. Some comedians were very critical of those who accepted the invite, framing it as an issue of ethics or integrity. It's not dissimilar to when celebrities and influencers have faced backlash before for performing in Saudi Arabia or participating in tourism campaigns there. And there are dozens who did agree to perform, including many American comedians. Chris DiStefano said in a podcast that he actually didn't want to take the deal at first, but decided to after his fiance urged him to take the money. And several comedians have also claimed that they themselves did decline the offer. Shane Gillis, for example, said that he turned down a significant amount of money and chose to take a, quote, principled stand instead.
So obviously lots of backlash here. What are some human rights advocates saying about this festival and the comedians who are going there for it?
Everything.
Human Rights Watch recently accused the Saudi government of using the festival to, quote, deflect attention from its brutal repression of free speech and other pervasive human rights violations. And it urged the performers to call on authorities there to free detained dissidents, journalists, and human rights activists. Human Rights Watch also noted that as the festival is going on, we're coming upon the 7th anniversary of the assassination of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi, which drew a lot of outrage against the Saudi government in 2018.
That same organization that you just mentioned, Angela, they wrote in a press release last week that Saudi officials are using this festival to deflect international attention from that brutal repression of free speech, human rights violations, and specifically, Angela, they urge performers to use the stage to call out injustices. Have we seen that? Will we see that? Or are there restrictions here on the...
Yo, hold everything. Hold. Am I seeing this? Are you seeing this? Is that Bill Cosby? Johnson, I first saw this. I said, that looks like Bill Cosby to me. Before we go any further, let me let you know, the Tim Black Wolfpack is dedicated, committed, 10 toes down to reporting the truth, unbiased, and not working for any political party. If that sounds good to you, go to jointimblack.com, become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack. Like, is Bill Cosby going to be in Saudi Arabia? Because you know it's still going on. It's been going on for 2 weeks. That's it, close up. That look like Bill Cosby, man. Is Bill Cosby performing in Saudi Arabia? Is that what's happening? Or is this a joke? I couldn't get confirmation. I couldn't see it anywhere. I saw no billing. I saw no articles saying Cosby gonna be there, man. Maybe it's just a joke. Hannibal Buress is gonna be there, or is there, or was there. So maybe that's the joke. I don't know.
So let's just talk, as I mentioned there, this is a massive event and it's all in the name of celebration and comedy. Can you tell us about what we can expect?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, like you said, you listed off just a couple of the names participating. What to expect is really a comedy festival on an unprecedented scale. And we're talking about, like you say, more than 50 of the world's most famous and celebrated stand-up comedians. They're all going to be performing in Riyadh over the next 2 weeks. And we're talking about the likes of Dave Chappelle, Chris Tucker, Jimmy Carr, Zana Garg, you name it. It's really, like I say, it's on a completely unprecedented scale.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's a big deal, man. It's going down, and you know, I gotta say, man, I hear a lot of people complaining about it, but to me, it's like these are comedians, these are comics. I get what you're saying, man. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's say this, man, and we'll get back to all the comedians that appeared in this thing. Everybody's blasting comedians for performing at the Saudi Arabia event, at this Riyadh event. But let me say clearly, man, these guys, who said they had souls to begin with? I mean, they're performing. You know, they're U.S. comics. There's a bit of your soul you give up just to do comedy. I mean, to go into some of the rooms you got to go in and some of the shit you got to do. So, and it's like people just discovered that Saudi Arabia has blood money. I mean, the average person, did they know this? That we've been in bed with Saudi Arabia for decades? I mean, we talking oil, money, politics, guns, bombs, we sell them stuff. I mean, this is not new. So I'm thinking the comedians are thinking, hey, what's good for the goose? And what are they doing? Are we holding Kevin Hart to the same status or the same purity that we would a politician? And if so, no wonder why he's not doing the right thing. I mean, because he's a comic. And our politicians aren't doing the right things either. But why are we just focusing on the comics? I think it's because it's easy. I think because it's low-hanging fruit. And I think some of the people that are complaining are not being totally honest. Like, were you asked to be here? Were you asked to go? Because I've been reading about the amount of money some people are getting. This is like the biggest net they got all year. Or in their careers. I'm sorry, not all year. In their entire careers. So I'm saying, Johnson, are they going to turn that down to be on the right side of history? I think not. I'm not saying they shouldn't turn it down. Look, Dave Chappelle, the guy complains about cancel culture in the United States. What does he do? He goes to Saudi Arabia and he allows them to censor his comedy. Now, I don't know if he's going to have a joke about gays or trans or the royals, but he better not. And just so that they did that, was he willing to buck the system there in Saudi Arabia? I think not. Does that make him a hypocrite? Yes, it does make him a hypocrite. It absolutely does. I'm not saying it doesn't make him a hypocrite. I'm saying, what made us think they weren't? Bill Burr, the guy, he's always railing against corruption and the billionaires. What does he do? He go to Saudi Arabia and gets a check from a billionaire. That's right. That's exactly what he does. Does that make him a hypocrite? Absolutely. It makes him a hypocrite. A lot of people. Andrew Jones, oh. I mean, a lot of people. I didn't see Chris Rock. I thought Chris Rock was here. Edible Burris. I don't know all these people, but.
Comedian Bill Burr taking to his podcast to defend his performance at a Saudi Arabian comedy festival in the Middle East last week.
Just like us, you can talk about anything, other than a couple things, which was basically, religion, don't make fun of the royals. Everyone was happy. The people that were doing the festival were thrilled. It was a mind-blowing experience. Definitely top 3 experiences I've ever had. And it was great to experience that part of the world and to be a part of the first comedy festival over there in Saudi Arabia. I think it's going to lead to a lot of positive.
But Bill, hold on, Bill. How dare you let somebody tell you what you could talk about? Bill, you're at a point in your career you never would allow no shit like that. At least I thought that's the kind of comedian that Bill Burr was. The kind of guy that you tell him not to talk about something, that's where he's going. Right where you said don't go, that's the first place comedians are supposed to go. The third rail, baby. But if you do that in Saudi Arabia, you may not make it home. Johnson. So, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Thanks.
Fox News contributor Kat Tim joins me now. Kat, you must really love me.
I do.
Good morning.
I couldn't sleep, but here I am, so hopefully this goes okay.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Yes,
I know
course.
it is a different time slot for you, but we appreciate having you on. Should he have to defend himself for something like this?
Well, the thing is that it is funny that he went so hard, right?
Right.
I would have, I think, respected it more if he was just like, you know what? The money was real good.
Yeah, right.
I took
he was
that.
like, Saudi Arabia is perfect.
I took that real good money. Instead, he was like, you know what? Because I did this, a lot of good things are going to happen. I'm not so sure that that's true.
I agree with you there. I also would just be very afraid to go to Saudi Arabia and do a comedy routine, like for your own personal safety. So
my jokes would not work.
Yeah, he did. He said he had to censor some of his routine, which is probably smart.
Dave Chappelle did make, I don't know if he said this in his act or what, but he did make a statement that in America, he'll get canceled if he talks about Charlie Kirk. Let's see what happens now. And I don't know what that was, but I don't know if he started talking about Charlie Kirk in Saudi Arabia and people laughed or what, but I know he did say it's very easy to get censored in America, which is something he's been talking about for a long time, getting canceled, saying the wrong thing in America. And that makes that hypocritical, yeah, it does. My thing is, fam, there are issues in America that haven't been addressed, that have never been addressed, and people perform in America all the time. These comedians are from places. For instance, there's a story we're covering with Trey Reed. He's a 21-year-old young man in Mississippi who apparently looked like he got lynched. He was hanging from a tree outside a pickleball court. And the first autopsy was like, hey, nothing to see here. He did this to himself. So thanks to Colin Kaepernick, they do an autopsy, a second autopsy, an independent autopsy. What did they find? Blunt force trauma to the back of the head. I don't know if you noticed or not, but that probably shouldn't happen if someone just hangs from a tree. There was also bumps and bruises and contusions on his face. This is what I'm getting from an interview I saw Willie D did with a woman with knowledge of the family and information. So, we got black people being lynched in America still, right? And are we going to perform in Mississippi? Are these comedians performing in Mississippi? Are they still performing in the South at all? Yes, they are. And all I'm saying is, how far do you go? Like there's atrocities all over the globe. America's doing business with Saudi Arabia like nothing's going on. We're trading with them. We're selling them bombs. So, all I'm saying, I get it. I don't want to sound like Mark Lamont Hill on this. I refuse to. Because America's done dirty shit all this time. We compromise on everything else, and now we want to hold comedians to a standard that we don't hold politicians, presidents, corporations to, but we're going to hold individual comedians. That's real easy. Also, nothing for nothing. I'm not finding a whole lot of coverage on the story. Yeah, like I'm finding some blogs talking about it, but I saw a Fox News segment on it, but I ain't seeing a whole lot of MSNBC, CNNs. Okay, I'm not seeing a lot of CBS, ABC. I'm not seeing a lot of coverage. Okay, so evidently everybody's okay with it. We got activists who always want people to make a statement, but that's about it. So it's the hypocrisy for me. That's all I'm saying. I get it. I get it why you're saying they shouldn't do it. I understand the atrocities. I understand the human rights violations. There are human rights violations in this country, sir. Ma'am. And people perform here. They perform here clear-eyed and understanding that this country has a lot of problems and they still do it. And all I'm saying is we can make the claim that you shouldn't perform anywhere. We're the number one incarcerator of people. There are reasons why you shouldn't perform in your own country, if that's the case. So it's all about where you want to draw the line, fam. And there's going to be people that say, yo, Tim Black, man, you don't sound like an advocate. I sound like me. I sound real. If you offer me 10 times my salary, well, actually, you have to offer me a lot more than that because I don't make hardly anything. But if you offer me $1 million to go sell some jokes, I'll be writing some jokes. I'll be there tomorrow. All right? It's a lot of focus on Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle. But there are a lot of people on that lineup, man. Yeah, okay? A lot of people. Aziz, I don't even know what Aziz is doing nowadays. Louis C.K.'s there telling his jokes. Joy Choi, Coy, whatever his name is. You know what I'm talking about. Pete Davidson. He seems to pull it all together to go do this. Andrew Scholes, he don't need money. So there's a lot of rich comedians who are doing it. I guess they're just doing it for clout. Oh, they can't be doing it. I mean, the money's good, but I thought they were good. Like, I don't want to count people's wallets. I'm just saying, it's not like everybody there is broke. I saw my brother, Ali Sadiq. Ali Sadiq's there performing. So it's a lot of different comedians, man. We got any more footage of people here? Chris Tucker. I watched the Joe Budden podcast. They were talking about Chris Tucker performing. And Chris Tucker I saw Chris Tucker a year ago 16 months ago here in D.C. at the National Harbor. Funny as hell. He be performing. So, but he went to Saudi, and look, it ain't his first time going to Saudi Arabia. Neither was Kevin Hart's first time. They've been doing this, man. This is just the biggest festival. They've taken money to go there before, so I'm saying it's not that new a thing. Let's not act like people don't go different places to perform. It's just quieter. Check out Chris Tucker. He ain't got no problems letting you know.
What's up, Saudi Arabia? Riyadh, I'm on my way. Your boy Chris Tucker is on his way. I'll see you soon. Riyadh, where you at?
Chris does not seem bashful at all. He's like, yeah, I'll do a spot. I'll promote it. Whatever. When they was trying to lock my ass up for taxes, where was y'all? All right, fine. I'm going to go do this money, man. I noticed a couple people that are complaining about comedians. A couple comedians are complaining about comedians. I don't know if those comedians were asked to go or not. And I also noticed that comedians that are complaining who complain about everything. It's like that's their lane to complain about shit. Mark Maron, like, who black watches Mark Maron? I know about him because the blog stuff is my job to kind of know. But the average black person, let's say, who's Mark Maron? They'd be like, who the hell is Mark Maron? They don't know. He could be an umpire for the Dodgers. They wouldn't know who the hell he is. What he does, the news, he's a weatherman on Channel 2. Who is this guy? I don't know this guy. Then there's other guy, David Cross, not exactly ringing out in the black community. So I'm just saying, like, we got comedians that are complaining about other comedians picking up a paycheck. You have never worked someplace other people complained, or you haven't worked controversial places or told jokes others didn't sanction or whatever. Once again, I'm not saying they should do it. What I'm saying is, why are we holding comedians to a higher standard than we hold politicians, our own government, corporations, you name it? We still do business with these people. I guess this is from a promo tour. Dave Chappelle there doing promo. All I'm saying is, if you're going to measure the sin of other countries, you got to measure the sin of your own country. And America's got a lot of sin to go around, and we can make the same arguments about here. I know it's to a lesser extent, considering some of the atrocities and human rights violations there. But come on, John. So like America, we do a lot of our own dirt. And if we're going to have moral high ground, you got to first be on the high ground. And I don't think America's really in a position to even say, like, we need to hold these comedians to a high ground that America's not sitting at. Is it fine for people to be pushing, like, for aspirations, like, we should be better? Yeah, we should be better, but are we better, though? That's my point. Are we better than this? Are we? That's a question. And I think it's a legit question. You know what I'm saying? The cat go there before. I don't know. They go Chris doing his set. Look, man. I'm just saying. I'm not saying they're right for doing what they're doing. What I'm saying is some of them were looking at millions of dollars. How are they going to turn down millions of dollars? Like, that's human nature to want to take the money. It's going to be a survival bias that they have. And if we're looking at evil on a sliding scale, okay, Saudi Arabia is probably at 12, okay? Where's America on the scale? Where is America on the sliding scale of evil? 10? We got to be up there, Johnson. We're the only ones that dropped an atomic bomb on another country. So we got to be up there, right? Forced sterilizations, slavery, turn the boats back when the Jews were escaping Nazi Germany extermination camps. It's not our problem. All that happened here in America. Trail of Tears, slavery, Jim Crow, mass incarceration, things that are currently ongoing, slavery by a different name, the 13th Amendment. mass incarceration. So I'm just saying, like, where's the line? So yeah, I get it. I get it. It's fine. You don't have to support these comedians. You don't have to go see any of them. I'm going to see Dave Chappelle next week, though. He's going to be here in the National Harbor. I'm going to see him again. But you don't want to give your money to comedians, fine. You disagree with their choices, that's your freedom of speech, that's your right. But if they have freedom of speech, guess what they get to do? They get to go to Saudi Arabia and do their free speech there. Because that's their freedom of speech. And you get a right to boycott or not want to go see them. Or make shit posts on X or Facebook complaining about it. I just think it's a contradiction to pretend that America's not doing business with Saudi Arabia like nothing's going on. People don't talk about it, okay? We're funding Israel right now, who many say are committing a genocide as we speak, as the words are coming out of my mouth. That's happening right now. And guess what? People sleeping like babies, like nothing's happening, while babies are starving right now. I just say this and we can get out of here. So was it hypocrisy or is it hypocrisy? Yes, it's hypocrisy. I'm just saying, don't hold Chappelle and Kevin Hart to a higher standard than you want to hold Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Don't do it. Be indignant, be pissed off, have high standards, okay. Have them for the whole thing, though, the whole system. Not just comedians. These are performers. I just don't think Kevin Hart should have higher standards than Joe Biden, ExxonMobil, and Congress. And I don't know if that makes me wrong, if that makes me morally deficient, well, go to hell. That's how I see it. And I'm pretty sure that's how these comedians probably see it too. I can't speak for them, but that's how I see it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are these people the biggest hypocrites walking the earth, or are they just basically par for the course? All right. I'll see you tonight, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for more Tim Black Show live streams. Wolfpack. I think the outrage says more about us than them.
The Tim Black Show streams Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.